Let's go to line 2. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
I'm fine, line 2, and how are you doing?
Oh, my gosh, I could be much better. I just left the Health Science Center, Women's Health. I had an appointment that I waited over 6 months to get for 8:45.
Yeah.
I called them maybe around 8:15. I let them know I was on my way in, but, you know, as you probably know, there was a lot of traffic this morning, going really slow, coming out of CVS. So I told them I would be tied up. Is this going to be a problem? No problem. We have a few people late today, so we'll just write down on your file when you come. Just check in. So I got there, I think around 11 minutes after my appointment was supposed to start. I signed in. I waited in the waiting room for 55 minutes after I got there, so a little over an hour after my appointment time, which was not a big deal. They brought me into the room, they took some samples, and they asked me to wait for the doctor. 10 minutes later, they came into the room and told me that the doctor would not be able to see me today because she is too booked up and because I arrived a few moments late, that she wouldn't be able to see me. Now, that's all fine and well, but you would think that somebody would have told me that before when I called to say I was going to be late, or at least when I got there before I sat in the waiting room for an hour.
Yeah.
I expressed I was, really upset. I've been waiting for this appointment for a while, because of my situation. I feel it's really important to get, this addressed. And, I started to cry. The lady started to laugh at me. The supervisor for patient care in that department started to actually laugh at me. And then told me that, sorry, we can't do anything. And I said, well, what about, when can I get in to see her then? When can I come back again? 8 to 12 months. And
how important is this to you, caller?
Very important to me. This is something I've been dealing with for a while now. I don't want to get into,
No, I know, and I don't want you to, but I was just wondering if it's a routine, something routine that a few months won't make any difference to, or is it something more
it's
serious?
Not routine at all. It's something that I've been dealing with for a while now. Something that I'm even on, I'm even on iron supplements and stuff because I'm having so many issues, and it's just been something that, I've been back and forth with, for a while now, but they were supposed to be scheduling me for some, other testing and stuff like that, to figure out what exactly is going on, but, nothing.
They can't fit you in. They're treating you as if it's a whole new appointment or something.
They're treating me as if I was a walk-in patient, but I've had this appointment now for I think it was a little over 6, almost 7 months. And now they're telling me that it's going to be another 8 to 12 before they can even get me in for the appointment I had today.
Did anyone say to you or give you the impression that you should have been more on the ball yourself? Look out the window in the morning, see snow and ice everywhere. You know it's going to be slow going. You should have left 15 or 20 minutes earlier than you normally would in order to make sure you're here.
I left 45 minutes. It usually takes me about 20, 25 to get to town, so I did leave 45 minutes early. But then when, I came onto the manuals, when I came to get onto the on-ramp, I was just, it was backed up right in the manuals, barely moving, doing 20. So I did call them and let them know, hey, I'm definitely going to be running late. They let me know that wasn't a problem. If they had to say, her schedule's tight, we're probably not going to get you in, that would have been fine. I would have turned around, or rescheduled, but they led me to believe that I would be seen when I got there, and even when I got there and checked in, they allowed me to sit in the waiting room for another hour, 55 minutes, and then, a further 10 minutes in the waiting room after they took some samples and then came back and, after they said the doctor will be right with you, 10 minutes later, the doctor's not coming in, she's far too busy.
Well, thank you very much for telling us about it. I wish I had a suggestion to make. I don't know how anyone copes with this kind of a situation. Anyone listening who would like to call up and give a possible solution to your problem this morning, we'd appreciate that. Where do you go from here? Do you just have to sort of grin and bear it, you might say, or can you?
Yeah, pretty much that's what they said. I expressed, I'm really worried about my situation. I really don't think that, a year is, I don't think it would be a good idea for me to wait a year to get this addressed.
Right.
And she said, sorry, but she said the best we can do is maybe 8 months.
Do you have a family doctor?
I do. So my next thing is maybe to go back to him and see if he could.
Yeah, I mean, he'll have to assess what he considers to be the seriousness to your health of your condition, and maybe he'll have to put on some pressure based on triage. You know that this is serious. You can't wait 8 or 10 or 12 months. It's life threatening or seriously health threatening, and that may be the situation. But let us know how you make out, will you? There seems to be some serious gaps in our healthcare system. I mean, having to wait because of a problem with weather, like having to wait a year maybe for a resumption of your doctor's appointment. I mean, my goodness, what does that say about our healthcare system?
That's not even the best part. I went in for a neurology appointment, or I was going to go to a neurology appointment tomorrow morning. I looked at my piece of appointment paper this morning. No, it wasn't November, 26, 2013. It wasn't even November 26, 2014. It's November 26, 2015 that I have to wait for this neurology appointment. And right now I'm dealing with probably about 25% of the time not having any feeling on my left side. So in my opinion, that's urgent, but in Eastern Health's opinion, not so much.
Two years.
I put that in there.
2 years to wait. Thank you very much for telling us about it. Keep us posted on how you make out. Will you do that, please?
No problem. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and I don't know, you'll talk to your own family doctor, but of course they do have departments in at Eastern Health where you can register complaints and so on. I don't know if you're going to follow that route or not, but in any event, will you keep us posted? Find out, when you call up, find out what procedures you can take to register your concern here, and maybe there is some way out of the quagmire that you find yourself in. In any event, keep us posted. And if anyone listening has a suggestion, we certainly would like to hear from them as well.
Okay, thanks so much, Phil. You have a great day.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, my goodness. I often say to people off the air, I shouldn't be saying it on the air, but whatever you do, don't get in the toils of the health care in our province, or in our nation or province. But what can you do when you do need serious health care? You don't have any choice in the matter. I don't know what's wrong, why. We keep patting ourselves in the back for having, Medicare and one of the best systems in the world, until you start to look into it a little bit deeper and find out that maybe some other nations have coped with some of these problems and gaps and bottlenecks way better than we have. As I say, anyone who has a suggestion, generally or specifically, on these questions that arise on Open Line that you would like to address, do so. Give us a call.
In VOCM News at this hour, as you may have heard on VOCM Open Line just a short time ago, a caller is not impressed with how she was treated at the Health Sciences Center this morning. The woman says it took her over 6 months just to get an appointment at Women's Health. She says she called ahead today to say traffic was going to make her a little late and the weather conditions were going to impact her arrival time. She was assured it was okay and showed up about 10 minutes past her appointment time. The caller says she waited almost an hour, but was then brought in, samples were taken, and she says she was told the doctor would be right in. But that didn't happen.
10 minutes later, they came into the room and told me that the doctor would not be able to see me today because she is too booked up, and because I arrived a few moments late, that she wouldn't be able to see me. That's all fine and well, but you would think that somebody would have told me that before when I called to say I was going to be late, or at least when I got there before I sat in the waiting room for an hour. I expressed I was, really upset. I've been waiting for this appointment for a while, because of my situation. I feel it's really important to get, this address. I started to cry. The lady started to laugh at me. The supervisor for patient care in that department started to actually laugh at me.